1MDB has sparked embezzlement and money laundering investigations across
one
at
of the
least
biggest
10
corruption
countries.
scandals the world has ever seen.
What may be the biggest financial scam in history.
A number of corrupt 1MDB officials treated this public trust as a personal bank account.
Follow us as we bring you into the courtroom where the biggest financial scandal in Malaysian history is being heard. By the Malaysian Insight, this is the Najib Razak 1MDB trial, and I'm Patrick Teo. Despite 1MDB's terrible track record in joint venture agreements, remember the 1MDB Petro Saudi joint venture? The company dived headfirst into another JV agreement with Aabar BVI. Not only did 1MDB agree to be a JV partner, it did so knowing that it was heavily in debt and would have a hard time raising the $3 billion that was required. Former 1MDB CEO Shahrul Halmi's questioning continued today, with the defense picking up right where they left off yesterday, the Tun Razak Exchange or TRX land deal. Defense lawyer Wan Izzuddin Wan Muhammad showed Shahrul several documents. They were draft letters prepared by investment firm Goldman Sachs for the 6 billion ringgit to be raised by 1MDB in the government-to-government agreement with Abu Dhabi, as well as a timeline of the project. The project was supposed to be done by 2013, before the Abu Dhabi Crown Prince's visit to Malaysia. Shahrul was also shown an annex letter or comfort letter from 1MDB to the Ministry of Finance. Shahrul told the court that businessman Low Tek Joe had informed him that Goldman was managing the letter. Shahrul says a pushback came from the MOF over whether the annex letter was more of a guarantee than a letter of comfort. Joe had also informed Shahrul that he need not get involved in this deal as it was being handled by him, 1MDB General Counsel Jasmine Liu, and Najib. It was also Joe who told Shahrul about the pushback by the MOF. He did not hear it from the MOF. This was a very important deal. Didn't you take any initiative to find out? Wan Izzuddin asked Shahrul. Jolo told me that it was under control as it was being managed by him and Liu, so I didn't have to look into it, Shahrul replied. The boss, Najib, will bulldoze it through. I went along with it and it was a train in motion. I received the talking points as to what was going to happen. I went along with the plan as I believed that this was what Najib had wanted. You didn't go to see Najib and check with him? This was all based on Joe Low? The lawyer asked. No, I did not confirm any of this with Najib or the MOF, Shahrul said. After taking a short break, Wan Izzuddin showed Shahrul several other documents, a shareholder resolution and a director's circular resolution regarding the TRX deal with Aabar. In case you're wondering, this is the fake Aabar, Aabar BVI, which was incorporated in the British Virgin Islands and controlled by Joe. The resolution stated that Aabar and 1MDB would hold an equity stake of 50% each in the TRX. The lawyer suggests that Najib did not approve the 50-50 joint venture. Shahrul, however, disagreed. What was the specific target for 1MDB to raise the $6 billion for this deal? Wan Izzuddin asked. There was none. Joe just instructed us to raise the funds, Shahrul answered. Did you see any similarities between the new deal with the one with Petro Saudi Oil Services? At the time, I wasn't sure that the 1MDB PSI JV was falling apart and a sham, Shahrul replied. When the JV company was finally incorporated, it was called Abu Dhabi Malaysia Investment Company, or ADMIC. This is where it gets interesting. ATMIC is also an acronym for another company, Abu Dhabi Media Investment Corp, the country's biggest media company with British Sky Broadcasting as an investor. One Izzuddin said this was done by Joe on purpose. He had a tendency to incorporate offshore companies with names similar to those of big companies. Aabar BVI and BlackRock Commodities, anyone? This, the lawyer said, was done by Joe to siphon billions off 1MDB. Sharrell agreed with the lawyer's observation that Joe had a tendency of picking similar names, but said he didn't know what was his motivation behind it. After ATMIC was incorporated, a special purpose vehicle was set up to raise $3 billion. By this time, 1MDB was already heavily in debt. Sharrell recalls when he left in March 2013, 1MDB was more than $10 billion in debt and was having a difficult time raising funds. Wasn't the board of directors concerned? They still wanted to borrow $3 billion? One Izzuddin questioned. The fundraiser for the $3 billion was maneuvered by Joe, therefore it was pushed through, Sharrell said. Joe Low was an instrument to push for this, but the government also worked together with his talking points. One Izzuddin concluded his questioning for the day and asked that court be adjourned early as the defense team had another case to attend to. The judge agreed and the trial will continue tomorrow. This podcast was brought to you by the Malaysian Insight. It is produced, written and mixed by Revati Subramaniam with additional reporting by Kamlesh Kumar. I'm Patrick Teoh.